All right, boys and girls, started off multiplication. We did 2s. We did 4s. Today, we're moving to 5s. And you know what's pretty cool is that once you learn the strategies to work with 2s and 4s and 5s, do you think they may work for, or 2s and 4s, do you think they may work for 5s?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, first thing we did with 2s and 4s, what did we start with? What's this? Jacob.
A number graph?
A number, well, it looks like a graph, it's a number line. A graph would more be up and down also.
Oops.
Okay, so here's 0. And if we're multiplying, if we're doing times 5, how big are our jumps going to be? Yeah.
5.
They're going to be 5. So you start at 0, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5 times 1 here. And what's 5 times 1? What's the first mark you get to? Yeah. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5. So 5 times 1 is 5. If you skip another 5, what do you get to? Yeah. 10.
Of course.
Now, remember how I said you guys learned your skip counting?
Yeah.
One way to know your multiplication is doing your skip counting. And you started skip counting at very young, for 5s. 5s is one that is very easy because you do a 5, then you add on, then you get to the next 10.
5, 10, 15.
So we can do this one without adding. So help me out here. So it goes 0, 5,
10.
What's the next one?
15.
15.
20.
Oh, wait for me, please.
Sorry.
15.
20.
Okay, next one.
25. 30.
Okay, next one.
35.
Okay, let's stop there, please. Okay, so 5 times 1. So this is 5 times 2. 5 times 3. 5 times 4. 5 times 5. 5 times 6. 5 times 7. So if I said, what is 5 times 7? You could do skip counting.
35.
You could go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Let's look up here. Is 5 times 7 35? Yes, it is. So skip counting, our first way. That's been our first way again. Does anyone remember what the next way is? Yeah.
Pictures.
Draw a picture. And I started with... Okay, so you start with your picture. And when we're multiplying by 5, how big are the groups? Yeah.
5.
They're groups of 5. So, let's say I want to do 7 times 5. How many groups of 5 dots am I going to make? Yeah.
7.
Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you draw it out, and you realize, oh, Mr. Norman, I got groups of 5, I can skip count. Well, that's cool. That's awesome if you realize that. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So did we end up with 35 again?
Yeah.
Yes, or we can do the array. If we do the array, how many rows of 5 do I have? I have 7. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7 rows of 5. Now I'm going to ask you here, remember we were talking about a special kind of number that we find every so often when you do our arrays? Do you remember what that's called? I'm looking for a raised hand. Connor, what do you think?
Square number.
A square number. And if I have a 7 row by 5 in each row, is that a square number?
Yeah.
No. It either have to be 7 by 7 or 5 by 5. It's neither, so this is not a square number. Okay. What's the next one was, so we have those two are ways to draw a picture. The last one is just write a multiplication sentence. So if I wanted to figure out 7 times 5, what would I write? for a multiplication sentence? Jacob.
7.
Okay.
Multiplication symbol. 5.
5.
Equals.
And then equals, and we learned from these two ways,
35.
it equals 35. Now let's say I switched it around and I went 5 times 7. Do I get the same answer if I flip my numbers?
Yes.
Tony, what do you think? Do I get the same answer? Yes, I do. 35. What if I write it like this? You still get the same number. Now, sometimes you're going to be faced with a problem that looks like this. How am I going to figure that one out? What's your guess?
Put the 7 in the box.
Okay, but what if you don't know the 7? How do you figure it out? Because we've been using that as our example through this whole process. Isaac, how would I figure that one out? What would be a strategy you would use?
Skip count by 5.
Okay, Isaac said, you know what, I know I can skip count by 5s. And so how would you keep track? How many times you skip count it? You'd use your fingers. What would be another way we could do that? Counter. You can make a picture. What about tallies? Do you think we could use tallies? Okay, so if we count up, if we went 5 and you went, okay, I'm going to count until I get to 35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Oh, I counted 7 fingers. So what number needs to go in the box? 7. So if you see that, you got to think sort of backwards. Actually, what you're doing indirectly is division, believe it or not.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, there is at least 3, 4 ways that you can figure out your times 5. All right, go for it.